The way it was explained to us, this is TMZ talking, Kendrick and Drake's beef is between them and completely separate from the business side of things. I'm about to tell you why I think UMG is the real reason that the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar is at a standstill right now. All right, so y'all check this out. First off, we've got DJ Academics. He's giving his insight into what he thinks is possibly going on with UMG. We discussed on another video, UMG is being alleged that they kind of put a stop to this beef that's going on between Drake and Kendrick. Academics, he gives his opinion on it and says he doesn't think that it's true, and that's the case. So shout out to Sound for tweeting this out. It says Academics denies rumors of UMG stopping the Drake and Kendrick beef, saying he spoke to Drake directly, alluding to the shooting / trespassing of his home. Okay, they typed this wrong. At his home, pausing the music. Yeah, and there's been 3 different people that have tried to break into Drake's property too, which is crazy. He says, excuse me. He says, I talked to Drake himself. This is Academics. He literally told me, quoted, listen, real life stuff got in the way right now. That's the only reason we ain't get a track yet. All right.
Stop the cap.
I'm not buying it. Y'all listen to Axe say it himself.
I've talked to Drake himself. He literally told me, and you can quote it. He said, listen, real life shit got in the way right now. That's it. Nigga got shot at his crib, my nigga. Like, yo, a nigga ain't just be like, oh yeah, niggas, they're just having a shootout outside. Let me just keep cooking up this diss track. Bro, real life shit got in the way. That's the only reason why I ain't get a track hit. My nigga just chill. Like, this whole, I've talked.
All right. Now, obviously, hopefully the security guard's okay. I definitely think it would have been distasteful and weird on Drake's side if he had dropped a response or another track right away, especially after his security guard got shot. Y'all want to have the conversation in the comments about the security guard. Was he actually shot? What's going on there? Is this a distraction? You can have that distraction. We're not going to have that. Or you can have that conversation. We're not going to have that conversation today. Now, this is the article that TMZ wrote. We covered this a little while back, talking about why UMG might have possibly stepped in and where these rumors are coming from in the first place. So TMZ says Drake and Kendrick Lamar rumor about UMG mediating BS. Label ain't interfering. All right, there's a rumor going around that Drake and Kendrick Lamar's shared music label. This is important. Words are super important. Shared music label tried to force them to squash their beef. But turns out it's totally unfounded, TMZ learned. Here's the deal. A blind item is being circulated that purports, to have the inside scoop on an alleged meeting between Kendrick, Drake, Universal Music Group, which both artists are technically signed to via distribution subsidiaries. And some big words in there. Good Lord. Now, here's the picture if y'all haven't seen it yet. And this is what the insider alleges, that PG Lane, Kendrick, and XO, The Weeknd, as of yesterday, were asked by Universal Music Group to end their beef with OVO/Drake. Kendrick apparently isn't budging at all, but UMG is pressing hard on their request to squash the beef. Now, where this is coming from, it looks like it's coming from either a Discord or a Reddit. I don't know that this is the case, but it's interesting that they would say this because you cannot deny the fact that both artists have record deals with the label. So they're connected, like it or not. Love them, hate them. They are both under the same umbrella. And Drake mentions it on a couple of his tracks, actually. And then 2, I mean, it's just so there's so much money invested in Drake just as a brand. Over $400 million was invested into Drake. He signed the biggest deal of an artist ever. So UMG is going to be keeping a close eye on this. And I think it's kind of humorous that these allegations are coming out because it's something that we could see playing out. And as someone mentioned in the chat, we've possibly seen before. UMG also had a Zoom meeting with all the parties involved, and they want Kendrick either directly or said through PG Lang to post a statement clarifying that Drake isn't a you know what if Kendrick agrees to end the beef. And that hasn't happened, even though, you know, Top Dog, let me bring this up. Top Dog says on May 10th, the battle is over, a win for the culture, while keeping it all on wax. This I hate when non-independent artists and entities do this. You want to talk about they not like us? Y'all aren't like us. All right, you're not out here independent. You're not out here doing everything for the culture. As we just read, TDE, PG Lang, OVO, they're all tied to UMG. So saying you're keeping it on wax is just disingenuous on its own. You're not. You were tied to these companies. You do business with these companies. All right. So how do we know this is even the case? Maybe on the surface, it looks like it's kept on wax, but we all know behind the scenes, the dollars are considered over everything. But anyway, go ahead, Top Dog. What else do you say? Especially when these publications try to make it something else. Oh, we're the victim. We proved them wrong. That's a victory within itself. On another note, it's time to wrap up this TDE 20-year anniversary compilation.
Stop the cap.
Anyway, we'll leave Top Dog alone for now. This also says Drake is losing the beef in UMG's eyes. So from UMG's perspective, the sooner that this beef ends, the better. And I said why that wouldn't make any sense. We talked about in another video. If y'all want to go watch that, you can. The allegations or accusations directed at Drake are costing UMG, Nike, and other parties a lot of money. So that is what was alleged to have been said in this meeting. There are a few bullet points addressed in the blind item, including the claim that UMG honchos tried to force Kendrick to capitulate to Drake and apologize and squash things. The blind item, citing purported insiders, said UMG wanted to have K-Dot put out a statement acknowledging that Drake is not in fact a you know what. This while alleging that UMG brass was viewing Drake as losing big time in the beef and hurting their bottom line. I don't see that at all, but I can see why other brands might want things to be cleared up. But again, that's why I stated the heart from a business standpoint. I get why Drake did what he did on the Heart Part 6. Drake had to come out and say, this isn't true. I didn't do this. I don't even think about those type of things. So then at least he has his statement out there. He did his part, which is why, again, people want to take the business side out of this music arrangement. But you guys see, they are all tied and interconnected with each other. So there's no single entity here. There's UMG, and then underneath that, there's the Drake and Kendrick beef. All right. So Drake had to do what he did on the Heart Part 6, just from a branding standpoint, because he wants it put out there. Nope, I never did this, never even considered doing this. This is not who I am. So take that as what you will. And it benefited Kendrick because now Kendrick looks like, yeah, he won. Kendrick is on top, which he is right now, absolutely killing it. So business started to take over, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is what's important in this entire situation. We're told not only did UMG not insert itself here, but our sources who are familiar with the inner workings of the label say Universal would never jump into something like this.
What? Stop the cap.
Not buying it. I'm not buying it. $10,000 is a big deal to some of us. And I used this analogy before. If I give you $10,000, and the reason I'm giving you $10,000 is you told me, yeah, you should invest in this. You're going to make more money with me if you do this. I'm going to make sure that everything goes smooth. You're going to get back 10 times what you invested with me. I'm going to be back in the next 5 years and you're going to have $1 million, right? and I give you that $10,000. If I see you the next day, post on your Instagram that you're in the strip club making it rain, you can guarantee I'm making a phone call, because to me, that $10,000 is a lot of money. And to the record label, that $400 million, that distribution deal they have with TDE, the distribution deal they have with Kendrick and PG Lang, is important and a lot of money. So for us to sit here and believe that they weren't involved and would never jump into something like this, it's, I get some of these businesses think people are stupid, and I don't know, maybe they are, but it would be crazy for us to believe that Universal Music Group, with all they have invested, would never jump into this situation. It doesn't make sense, whether that's a Tupac and Biggie situation where they jump in, or they have a Zoom meeting and say, hey, y'all chill out, or a security guard, something happens to a security guard. Yeah, it's like, come on, y'all, we're not that dumb. The way it was explained to us, this is TMZ talking, Kendrick and Drake's beef is between them and completely separate from the business side of things. Let me ask y'all a question. Y'all can let me know in the chat. Did UMG, who did they sign to this deal? Did they sign Chubbs to this deal? No, right? Did they sign Crody, Drake's cat, to this deal? Nope. Did they sign Adonis to this deal? Well, not yet. UMG signed Drake to this $400 million deal. UMG signed the owner and the artist Kendrick Lamar, PG Lang, to their distribution deal. So saying the beef is between them and completely separate from business. How is it separate from business when these are the exact people that sign these deals? They are the business. It can't be completely separate. Without Drake, if you remove Drake, there is no $400 million deal. If you remove Kendrick, there is no PG Lang. There is no distribution deal. So this is just lies on top of lies on top of lies. Me as a business owner, as a business person, I mean, a couple $100, I'm making a phone call like, hey, what's going on here? $1,000, you know, I might leave a couple of voicemails. $10,000, I mean, we're going to have to pull up, have a conversation, right? So this is just the most disingenuous, crazy statement I've ever seen. And it's happening right in front of us and people are buying it, which is crazy to me. So they didn't, nor did they ever consider doing so. That's getting involved. Mind you, there's also the fact that all these music drops have clearly only helped them. It has benefited them, but as a business at this magnitude, you're not just looking at, hey, Kendrick got more streams and he has the biggest. No, we're not looking at that. We're looking long term. When they made that deal with Drake, they're looking long term. When they made the deal with Kendrick, they're looking long term. So that's not how businesses think. All the tracks between these two guys have spurred lots of streams and plays, and that's dollars for UMG. So objectively, there's a financial incentive to keep this beef going, to keep a beef like this going. Now, in terms of whether it actually will keep going or die on the vine, all signs point to the latter. DJ Head telegraphed this earlier this week, that was last week, suggested Drake was throwing in the towel and moving on. No, that's not true. I disagree 100%. Of course, that was before a shooting took place at Drake's house. Exactly. No telling how the unfortunate developments may affect things in the music space. On the issue of either these titans being brought in by the principal to work out their problems, we're told it's complete BS. No, this story is complete BS. Now, a reason being Top Dog. Again, I mentioned this earlier. He says the battle is over and went for the culture while keeping it all on wax. That's a whole lie right there. And then going back to the rumors that, well, we'll save this one in a second. Y'all give me a second on this. So why would UMG get involved? And why do I think UMG is getting involved here? Well, we haven't had a lot of conversations about this, but you guys know there's still an ongoing case with our guy Diddy. All right. Shout out to Diddy. Still got a lot of legal issues going on. And most of that was affecting Diddy's deal that he had with Ciroc, some of the issues he had going on with ClassE, and now, of course, his former producer, associate, and partner in some things, Lil Rod, filed another lawsuit. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Now, what is interesting about this case with Diddy is that not only was Diddy mentioned on this lawsuit by Lil Rod, but there was somebody else who was mentioned in this lawsuit against Diddy as well. So let me read this article. This is from the LA Times and see what they're saying about this case. It says, additionally, he, being Lil Rod, accused Combs of detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact of his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, the abuse, the you know what, and abuse lawsuit. Began Diddy's fall from grace over the past several months. Since then, Diddy has been accused of assault by more women and stepped down from his position as chairman of Revolt TV. There's a whole backstory that goes into the Revolt TV situation as well. The media company he co-founded in 2013. All right, check this out. Now, this is the important part from this whole thing with Lil Rod. Jones, aka Lil Rod, who previously made a public plea on social media for Combs to pay him for his work on the album, accused Love Records, Motown, and guess who else? And UMG. UMG has been struggling these days. Now, you could say it's good publicity. Is it though? Yeah, from brand standpoint, it's not looking great. He accused Love Records, Motown, and UMG of being unjustly enriched at his expense. Wow. So UMG clearly was not happy about being mentioned in this lawsuit. And as I mentioned back when we covered this, this was great for Diddy. And I think this is kind of why Diddy is chilling and relaxing, because now that UMG is involved in this lawsuit, UMG is going to use all their resources to either get themselves completely removed from this lawsuit, and Diddy can just sit back and say, well, UMG, you're in this now. Hey, y'all take care of it. So UMG is going to fight to get their name completely out of this, or to get this lawsuit done and over with as soon as possible. And again, this is some of the ties that you can see in the music industry. All of these people being connected, which is interesting. So check this out from Billboard. UMG and Lucian Grange. We've heard about Lucian before. Who mentioned Lucian recently? I think our guy Kendrick Lamar did, right? In several of his songs, talking about Drake's daddy. I think he even mentioned, no, it wasn't Kendrick who mentioned Lucian, but either way, UMG and Lucian Grange blast the lawyer for adding them to Diddy's SA lawsuit. They label it as recklessly false. The music giant and its CEO have utterly nothing to do with the case against Diddy, their lawyers say. Hey, where have we heard this before? Yeah, it was Rick Ross. Thank you. Where have we heard this before? We have nothing to do with this case. This wording is starting to sound really familiar. Attorneys for Universal Music Group CEO Lucian Grange fired back at a lawsuit that claims he and the label aided and abetted Sean Diddy Combs in his alleged essay, saying the accusations are so offensively false that they plan to seek legal penalties against the lawyer who filed them. In a motion to dismiss all claims against UMG and Grange, The label's lawyer blasts attorney Tyrone Blackburn for filing knowingly false allegations of criminal wrongdoing without the slightest factual or legal basis. I find that hard to believe, because if you actually go back and look at this lawsuit that was filed, there are specific people within UMG that are mentioned in this lawsuit by Lil Rod. So I find it hard to believe that there's no factual basis for this. Anyway, we'll keep it moving. They said they would seek so-called sanctions against him in a future filing, which is maybe why things have gone kind of quiet on this most recent case. A license to practice law is a privilege, says this. Okay, yeah, blah, blah. We're so upset. Oh, leave us alone. The Wednesday filing came in a response to a lawsuit filed last month by a producer named Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who says the rapper essayed and harassed him. The lawsuit is one of several abuse cases filed against Combs, in addition to an apparent federal criminal investigation that led to raids of his home this week. And y'all, this was back in March. We haven't heard anything in a while, so it's been pretty quiet. Combs has strongly denied all the allegations of wrongdoing, but the case filed by Jones went far beyond a simple assault claim, arguing that Diddy, Grange himself, and many others had also violated the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, the federal RICO statute. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. You do not want a RICO case. Y'all see what's going on with Young Thug right now. This case is going to drag on for forever. In Wednesday's filing, UMG's lawyers said those claims were entirely invented by Mr. Blackburn. All right. And shout out to the lead attorney. He actually had a direct contact with Mr. Blackburn. So if y'all want to get more information and better insight into this case, specifically from an attorney's perspective, a 20-year attorney, go check out the lead attorney's YouTube channel. He covered this really well and broke down everything that was listed in this lawsuit. The complaint hurls accusations of criminal racketeering, criminal sex trafficking against the UMG defendants, respected individuals and companies having utterly nothing to do with the plaintiff's claims. UMG's lawyer wrote Wednesday's filings. These accusations are recklessly false, but for the fact that they are embodied in a complaint would be, I don't even know how to say that word or what it means. So, in addition, the original allegations, UMG's lawyer also sharply criticized Blackburn for filing a second updated complaint this week. They're doubling down, man. So I say all this to say, we're not going to go into the full article. UMG has got a lot of stuff going on legal. And if we're going to think and we're going to act like that all this stuff is tied into some of the pressure they're feeling from this now beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I think we're going to be sadly mistaken. Because what if something does come of this and someone steps forward and says, yeah, Drake, such and such and such, I want to go down this road and we're going to file a complaint or we're going to file a lawsuit. And then another person comes out and then another person comes out. This $400 million investment that they have isn't looking so great.